So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I've thought when I first read all the rules and stuff, I was thinking that this cult ambush stuff would be good, and being able to drop him would be good, and that's why, for example, drop pods were so expensive and so forth. But I actually really don't think it's that good, especially if you're trying to do it with lots of units, because you weren't particularly thinking too much about how to stop me doing it, and still basically shut me out. Whereas if you've got just more stuff running off the table, so take Gene Stealers. So Gene Stealer's base for Tyranids are 10 points, and for Gene Stealer Cult are 18 points. And that difference is because of them having the Cult Ambush special rule.
Cult Ambush, and they can look out, sir.
No, they can go, sir.
I think that's what somebody said, that they can look out, sir, to other Gene Stealer Cult units.
I don't think that's true. Let me check.
But yeah, I don't.
Maybe it is.
I don't know. I haven't read the Gene Stealer Cult rules yet. There's so much to read.
Oh, you're right. They do have unquestionable loyalty. Yeah, that's true.
So, but yeah, you're still paying 6 points, because I have to pay for my ring clause. You don't. But still paying 6 points for.
Yeah. Whereas if you had them just on the board with Gene Stealer, with Tyranids, right, you could have them move twice and run twice with Swarm Lord and then charge, which actually is probably easier in some ways to get into a good position than trying to put them 9 inches away from everything. So, yeah, interesting. So what do you think? What your
Well, I think like little mistakes I made. Trying to charge that unit when I killed 7 of them.
Yeah.
Figured they should have died to morale, so I should just leave them alone and not eat the Overwatch. Or at least attempt the charge on like the Wyverns or something. I did screw up with the combat order, just not thinking of, oh hey, he can, after I do one unit, he can go with the next one. So probably should have gone with the Trigon first on the Patriarch, just to make sure, because that was your biggest threat.
What did you feel about command points? I mean, obviously for the coming in on the Gene Stealer Cult, that's pretty important. But aside from that, I didn't feel.
I know I was being pretty conservative with them. You were being a little more liberal, and you had enough, and I think that was a good call. Particularly, I think, the first 2 turns is really going to matter. I think after the first 2 turns, I think you want to save maybe 2 or 3 command points for late turns, for something big that might change the game.
I think it will be different once if you're using the progressive missions, because you can use 2 command points to change a card.
Yeah. Ditching a card. I wish I'm a little annoyed that they didn't put in if it's absolutely impossible to do, ditch it. But I actually haven't looked through, so I don't know if.
Yeah, I haven't either. I don't know if
there might be just no totally impossible.
Let's have a look.
Yeah. Well, that took a little longer than I expected, but again, we were looking through the rules, and everything happened turn 1. Like after this turn, the game speeds up a ton.
Yeah. See, so for example, my next turn would be extremely quick.
Either fall back or just stand there and get attacked with tanks.
Okay, so there are. So yeah, there is still one that's Winch Hunter and one's that scale the size, for example, but they're only 1 out of 36 objectives, 1 each.
Yeah.
So like the vast majority of it.
Vast majority seem achievable generally.
Yeah.
Very good. Harpies are pretty bad in combat, but they have that really nice bonus of
Always going first.
Well, making you declare them last. So I think if they might have been better served going into existing combats and going, you can't go until everyone else is gone.
I agree.
And just kind of forcing those combats to go last.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't actually need it, but yeah, that would have been pretty cool. Although they've got quite a big. If you're against a big unit, that's right, you can get in. Yeah.
I didn't even use the Spore Mine Cysts.
Right.
fly over an enemy unit. I
Multiple
couldn't have done it
units,
turn 1, but turn 2, I could have done it on them. I could have done it on any of these tanks.
Mm-hmm.
So I could fly over them and then do mortal wounds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
It's actually quite hard to kill with shooting, right? So, for example, what was it? If I had 2 basilisks and some weapons into 1 hive tyrant and did 4 wounds, and they got 12 wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, because it actually looks quite hard to kill stuff with shooting. I mean, maybe I'm just using maybe if I had all the laser cannons, but they're actually quite expensive, right? So I wonder if having like a big swarm of nids and a few very large synapse monsters may actually work.
Mm-hmm. How is anything going to retreat from the harpy in the backfield? This guy could drive out here. Like these 2 could drive straight forward. That one, I mean, they could turn sideways.
Yeah.
And
but it's pointless because they then couldn't shoot, and then they just get judged again next turn.
Yeah.
So you might as well just stay and hit first with one of them.
Yeah. So, if that hadn't taken so long, I would have said
another game. Yeah.
Another game, but it took a good bit longer.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. Knights seem really brutal. There's a lot of I feel like basically all the Nid units I need to try.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you about Venom Thropes actually, because -1 to hit seem pretty good, but they also seem pretty easy to take out.
Yeah, -1 to hit is nice, but it's only infantry. So I think I think they'd be really good if you're going for a list with kind of more backfield blob presence. So maybe not. I don't know about Termagants, but warriors, big blobs of Termagants and/or Hormigons, and then some like artillery guys. Because I think Exocrines are pretty good.
What range are they now? Are they short still? Or
36.
They're longer. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Exocrines and Hiveguard both got 36 inch range. Hiveguard look really good. Strength 8, 2 shots, damage D3 I think, and like -1 or 2, and ignores cover line of sight.
I guess what Tyranids, the only thing I can see that Tyranids still lack a bit of is long range strength 9. So if you're up against things like knights or anything that's toughness 8, getting that 3 up to wound is.
Well, the harpies have it with the venom cannons or strength 9.
Strength 9.
Heavy venom cannons. And that was one of the things I was thinking with the hive tyrants. But again, it's going to be like 20 points or so. But to give them a venom cannon and bone swords, so they still have as many attacks in combat, and then they have a shooting profile because they were pretty useless, honestly.
But what was the AP on the bone swords?
Bone swords is -2 instead of -3.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's this is all theory, but Tyranids for a long time struggled with 2-up and 3-up armor just because they didn't have AP2, AP3, but now AP1, AP -1, AP -2 is good enough to make it so those aren't, and you still have the volume.
Yeah, especially in combat where it recovers when you shoot.
Oh yeah, in combat is just they can actually get to combat and blend. So
I like dropping in the swarm rod. That was cool, cute.
Yeah, the pod is expensive. It's like 140 points. Yeah, Greg, zap the boys in the backfield while the walkers move up. Yeah, you don't have to retreat in any particular direction. You just have to move and end over an inch away. So interestingly, the harpies, they do have a minimum move. So they would, in my next turn, would have to fall back out of combat. Which means they can't shoot, but they have the fly keyword, so I can still shoot. I can't charge that turn. But yeah,
interesting.
So that's the first 6th edition game, or 8th edition. Jeez, 6th edition. That's going back a way. So thanks for everyone who watched. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully you mostly saw what we were doing.
Just so people know, there's some gene steals over there.
Yeah, way down. Keep going. There they are. All the way on the board edge.
seeing as we only did 1.5 turns,
Yeah.
they're going to stay there for.
They got one turn.
So they got to move 6 inches in the game. That was their,
Yeah, they didn't even get their full move because they had to be within 6 inches of the board edge. Yeah, that's rough. Pretty brutal. But I mean, they're one of the. It's still one of the few sources of no scattered or deep strike that you don't have to buy a transport for unless you're. And I think that's why they're probably more expensive.
But if you want to play Colt, I do wonder about things like just putting stuff in Goliaths and running it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just forget having backfield shooting and just go for it.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2 that you bring in.
Anything? Thanks for taking time to answer questions. Of course. Yeah, the Gene Stealers are biding their time. They're like, wait, guys, these were the guys we were waiting for.
Yeah. I feel like, it's a different Hive fleet, first of all. So
yeah.
But they're going to slink back into the shadows and make a new cult just in time to be devoured by.
Yeah, take the Primus with them.
Oh, that's right, the Primus lives. Cool. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun edition. I think things will go quickly because the first couple of turns will.
Yeah, I think most games, like time-wise, the first turn is going to take a long time.
Yes.
I mean, if I had held all my reserves, it wouldn't have taken long.
Oh, mine still would.
But
if
I
held mine
then,
as well. Yeah.
Mid Colt player. There's others of us. Catheras. Yeah, glad you enjoyed it. I was gonna suggest another game, but
I've got to get into work, unfortunately.
Yeah. Gotta get rolling. I was hoping for the 90 minute to.
I think we'll get there eventually. We're normally quite quick, but looking everything up every 5 seconds is not doing us any favors for that.
Yeah, once we have a lot more of the rules memorized.
Yeah.
And even then, we probably got some stuff wrong because
I'm sure we did.
I've been looking at the rules for had them for 24 hours or so.
And I have to admit, I spent more time looking at the faction rules than looking at the actual rule book.
Oh yeah, I skimmed the rule book
Which
once.
is a dumb thing to do.
Well, I mean, I read through it, the core rules, but skimmed the advanced rules and the couple pages I was missing from the core rules.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. So
sweet.
Again, thank you very much, everybody. I'm gonna call it a day here. Actually, I'll figure out. Gonna go back to creative and see if I can't host somebody who's painting something. You probably can't hear because I'm facing away from the camera. But Kite Mice just went live, so I'm gonna pass you guys off to Kite Mice. So again, thank you everybody for checking out the stream and enjoying it, and be back next week with more regularly scheduled broadcasting. And Gate Mice is about to start.
Cool. That was an interesting game. I learned a lot. I've lost 2 dice somewhere. Can you see any red dice?
Let me check.